Well, hello there. My name is Mark Miles. As many of you know, I love helping trainers, presenters, coaches, and mentors, and particularly facilitators take their training game to the next level, be able to get much more effective and efficient results in a training space. So today's topic is ultimately about the mindset shift from average to great. Essentially, what does it take to go from average results to great results as a trainer and presenter? Because what we need to appreciate is that how someone thinks at the average level and how they think at the expert or elite level is very different. And ultimately, all mindset is what someone focuses on. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about three key things. Number one, what is the ultimate job of a trainer? Second thing we want to talk about is the success criteria. How does an elite person judge their success compared to an average person? And then last of all, I want to talk about what is the ultimate thing that we can focus on that's going to really drive our success and accelerate the results that we get in the training room. So let's dive into it. So the average trainer, the average trainer is probably worried about their materials. They're worried about getting their slides correct. They're worried about the audience feeling comfortable and things like that. They're worried about what the audience will think of them. That's all fine, but the elite trainer thinks about training very differently. So let's unpack the first thing, which is the job of a trainer. The job of a trainer. Now, I'd like you to imagine that someone comes to you for training or they come to me for training and they want to learn how to make a great cup of coffee. Now, they spend 3 weeks with me or they spend 3 months with me. And at the end of that time, they're still making a cup of coffee as bad as they were before we engaged our training. Now, you may put that into a leadership context, maybe you're running leadership training, whatever it may be, whatever the context is. But if someone spends a period of time with me after 3 weeks or 3 months, and they're still essentially exactly the same as they were before they met me, well, we need to question, is my training effective or not? Because ultimately, the first thing I need to do with someone is I need to work with their mindset. I need to help them understand what a good coffee tastes like, smells like, is made like, and I need to change their thoughts. I need to change their thoughts. And then ultimately, through working with changing their thoughts and perceptions and different ways of thinking about coffee, ultimately their actions and how they make that cup of coffee is going to change. So by spending time with me, I'm going to influence their behavior. Then last of all, when they're working at the coffee shop, they're going to be acting differently and they're going to be serving better coffee. And as a result, their lives will be changed, impacted, and so will the lives of the customers that they interact with. Now, the purpose of this illustration and a kind of story here is to help people understand that training, it's not a job. Training is not a job of just going through a session plan, turning up and presenting some PowerPoints. Yet, unfortunately, when trainers first start out, that's often the perception they have. So what we need to realize is that ultimately, the job of a trainer is to create change in individuals. And when we think about training like that, then we start to open up our minds to new thoughts that we need to have, such as, how do I influence this person? How do I motivate this person? How do I work with this person? How do I have empathy for this person? And all these new questions open up when we realize that as a trainer or a facilitator, we are ultimately agents of change. We are looking to work with learners and audience members in seminars to help them change and facilitate their shift, whatever that may be. And if we get stuck in the paradigm of when we go to deliver training, it's getting through the content, we kind of miss the forest for the trees. Because ultimately, what we are there to do and show up to do is to serve our audience and empower them with new knowledge and help them develop the skills to act differently. So now let's go to the concept of criteria. How does an average trainer evaluate their training compared to an elite trainer? Because it is different. It really is different. You see, the average trainer probably looks at their session plan or the PowerPoints and goes, yes, I got through everything. Or yes, we got all the assessments done. Now, yes, those things can be important. I won't say can, but ultimately the elite trainer thinks about training very differently. You see, the elite trainer, again, thinks about it in the bigger picture of change. How much change was actually created and facilitated? Now, as a great facilitator, three criteria that is really healthy to look at is number one, how much rapport did I have with the group? How much rapport did I have with the group, and how much connection and likeness was there? Coming away from a session, how much rapport did I have with my group? Was it healthy levels? Was it deep levels of rapport? Was it clunky rapport? On a scale of 0 to 10, how much rapport did you have with the group? Now, the second criteria that we want to think about if we're coming away from a session evaluating them is number two, engagement. How much response was there from the audience, and how engaged were they with the content, with you as a trainer, with the content, but also other people in the group? Now, the third criteria is the ultimate criteria, particularly in a learning context. Now, I know that learning can happen over a period of time, but also short-term increments are very important as well. Now, the third criteria I always want to think about is how much did my learners actually retain from what I taught them? Now, you may not necessarily judge that in only that session, you may judge that over a period of time. But the criteria of retention of information is critically important. And as a subset to that, you're going to have how much of an identity shift did my audience have as a result of the activities that I did, and how much new confidence did they develop? You see, when we start to think about these things, we no longer get lost in the, oh, my activity didn't run as well as it needed to go, or something was off, or whatever it might be. When you step back and go, how much rapport, how much engagement, how much did they remember, we can start to get very strategic. And that leads to the next key point, which is what does the elite trainer focus on that drives the success? And that is this one thing. That is the learning outcome. The learning outcome. And if you can get very clear on your learning outcome for your audience before you present, before you facilitate a session, before you stand up and introduce yourself, have that very clear in your mind, have it written down on a post-it note, and be able to articulate it very carefully and very concisely to your audience, the probability of your session going very successful is going to definitely go up. Because you know that even if you go off track, or things go wrong, or whatever it may be, you can always bring it back to the ultimate learning outcome and your reason for being there. Okay, so I just want to encourage you, if you're first starting out as a presenter or a trainer or a facilitator, that's all good, but now start to think about the bigger picture. Think about, what is the job of a trainer? Then think about, how are you evaluating the success of your sessions? And then last of all, make sure that the learning outcome or the identity shift intention is what you are really focused on as you are showing up, as you are delivering your content, and as you are ultimately reviewing the success of how your sessions went. Okay, so I just wanted to share this with you because over my time delivering training and workshops over the last 9.5 years, I've really looked at, what is the most important things and what is the criteria that will really define a great learning session. Okay, so hopefully you got something out of the video. Hopefully it was helpful for you as you develop the mindset of an advanced presenter and someone that's out there really wanting to make a great difference. So thanks for watching the video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.